G Fuel is a type of energy drink by Gamma Labs, and I've often seen it described as a pre-workout, which is not really a thing, at least in the UK culture, as far as I know, in gaming. So I wasn't really aware of it that much. I've heard of some people trying some of those things, and like Jacked was a famous one, I remember. And I mainly had seen it marketed by Call of Duty and console game players, pro players in America. That's the part of esports it seemed to be coming out of. So not really kind of my domain, not something I knew about, I was interested in. And because of the kind of the persona that a lot of those esports players have from those games, it seemed to very much be one of those things where adding that into the whole thing of people working out and going to the gym and wanting to get jacked and all that thing, it had that very much like a bro mentality. So personally, I didn't know much about these things, and I would have naturally have probably been put off. But I got a whole sample of this stuff where, because obviously sending out samples is very cheap, the agency that represent me is a huge agency. It's WME IMG. I mean, one of the people who's high up in this is the person who bought the UFC for $4 billion, and these are the people who initially brokered like the E-League deal, etc., like that whole league starting up. There's all sorts of the massive things that these people are in because what happened. There's a small agency from esports that I was involved in, then joined up with that and was purchased by that, and therefore it's a massive thing. So they obviously, people come to them who are sponsors and they want to find who should sponsor here, etc. So they get product, they get these scenarios where they're looking who on their roster should check it out. So it's not that G Fuel was ever going to be a sponsor of me or Gamma Labs was ever going to sponsor me. I mean, obviously my agents were looking into it, and so they have a whole load of the sample. They sent me a whole box of it, and I had all these different like tubs of it, all these little different sachets of it, and as a result, I thought, I'll give this stuff a try. I mean, obviously down the line, if I ever want to be sponsored by them, I want to know it's like a legit product. I want it's actually good. Otherwise, I'm not going to take the sponsorship. And so I started using it probably in about October. And very quickly, I actually saw that it had a good effect, that it actually fit my lifestyle, that I actually enjoyed it. I started to prefer it over other energy drinks. And in fact, if you ever look through the past few months of the Thorin Thoughts videos, you'll see videos where I'm drinking from one of the shakers that you make it from. I'm actually drinking, it's always G Fuel that's in those. I never put anything like water in that. I always have water in a separate thing, just like a bottle or a glass or something. And I've been using it ever since October. And when I'm at home and when I'm in my normal environment, usually have maybe one sachet a day. So one of the things, and by the way, I'm not going to be sponsored by them. That's all. That ship sailed. For whatever reason, it didn't work out in that sense. But I've enjoyed it so much. I decided, you know what? Even if I'm not going to be sponsored by it, I want to make a video about it. I want to let people know because maybe some people are in my position. So first and foremost, the thing I like the most about it is it doesn't give me any irritability when I have the G Fuel. When I have an energy drink, I've always found that within 20, 30 minutes, when the energy drink effect starts to occur, and I'm someone who's a connoisseur of energy drinks, I've drunk a lot of energy drinks in the last 15, 20 years, and all different types. It doesn't matter what type it is, which flavor it is, whatever. Unfortunately, when I have the energy drink, I always get this irritability that comes with it. This aspect where things aren't going entirely my way, I get a bit annoyed. I mean, this is actually famous. What's funny is some of my famous blow-ups online have actually come when I've just banged an energy drink like half an hour before. And if someone just sets me off, I'm in the wrong mood, that's when I'm going to be my most irritable, my most confrontational, my most kind of just bitchy, I guess would be the way you describe it, right? It's most annoyed. That unfortunately always came with the energy drink effect. Now I like energy drinks, I enjoy them, I like to use them in some sense. So as a result, I just took that as, that's par for the course. You just have to have that. I mean, I thought, man, it's just the way it's going to be, right? This doesn't happen to me when I have G Fuel. It actually doesn't change my temperament in that particular sense. It doesn't have some sort of like, it doesn't seem to attenuate my emotions in the way that other energy drinks did, for good or for ill. Also, it doesn't have any crash, and this is a really big deal, because one of the problems I had with energy drinks is I like them, but I would have to really plan out when I'm going to have one, and then I'd have to not have too many in a row or too early in the day, and then I know that if I do, then the latter part of the day is just a complete waste. There's nothing I can do at that point in time. I'm going to feel really low, my energy levels are going to be terrible, I'm going to feel like I've crashed completely. I'm not going to want to do anything in terms of environmental stresses. I don't get that when I have G Fuel, actually. It feels like I take it, I have this smooth up, I have this continuous peak. It feels like I'm at peak in the plateau. It feels like it's a couple of hours, 2 or 3 hours. Then I start to gradually go down, but I don't feel like I go down, I go to zero and I go to terrible. It feels like I just go down back to normal again. And actually at that point, I can just keep doing work anyway, and I'm on my way in the day. I feel like because it's smooth and it's continuous like that, it feels as though it helps me actually stay focused in some sense. It sort of gets me off to a good start, and then I can just stay within that zone. I can get my work done. I can be very focused. During this period, October, November, it was when I was probably the most productive I've ever been in esports. I've put out an incredible amount of videos, articles, all sorts of these things. I was busting all my internal numbers because I was trying to see what was possible when I was living in that apartment in Atlanta, and I wasn't taking events aside from E-League. G Fuel also helps me when I'm getting up in the morning. Like if I get up and I've had a night where I haven't had great sleep, like let's say I had like 6 hours, 5.5 hours, for whatever reason, I don't feel great, but I feel like I can't sleep much more. I mean, I can maybe meditate a little bit, but that's about it. I can't get back to sleep properly. Okay, I can rest and relax a little bit depending on the situations, but I'm going to have to get up at some point. Now, if I just get up and I don't do anything, I have some breakfast, I have some water. Yeah, in an hour or two, I'm going to be going, etc. If I have the G Fuel, 20 minutes after I've consumed the G Fuel, I'm good to go already. I don't feel any aches. I don't feel any of those pains. So my mind's locked in. I'm ready for work. I've had a little bit of breakfast and I'm going. Another thing, which turned out to be an unexpected benefit, and part of why it didn't just help me with my work, but helped me really structure my life actually, is that each sachet, and as a result each scoop or whatever you get out of the tub, is only 25 calories. So that means if you have 1 or 2 of these in a day, you're barely adding to your calorific intake at all. It's not like when you have a big energy drink and you might be drinking 200 calories right there. Well, that's like a tenth of your daily amount that you're supposed to have just to maintain your weight, never mind go over. So you have 2 of those, well, there we go. You've already taken a fifth of your daily calories just in your drink. So one of the issues is this only has 25 calories. So you're not drinking tons of calories, you're not drinking tons of sugar, and because you're not drinking tons of sugar and calories, I've noticed that's part of my theory as to why it doesn't seem to have the same addictive nature to it, where when you have an energy drink and you get the high and you get the enjoyment, you get the sugar rush and all the rest of it, and then you come down, the first feeling, like a drug addict, is you want to get back up again. You want to have that feeling again. You want to figure out when can I next have one. That doesn't seem to happen when you have the G Fuel, actually. I don't feel that in that sense. So when I come back down to normal, that's fine. I can just be at normal now. I've had the period that I was more elevated. I can wait 6 hours before I have another G Fuel, or just not have one today if I'm not going to do much more at that point in time. I don't feel the same compulsion in that sense. Personally, I only ever had like 1 or 2 drinks of G Fuel a day anyway. I never did more than that. I never went crazy with it. I mean, I personally think you never need more than 1 unless you're getting a massive amount of work done. Like, if I have 1, that could be 5 or 6 hours work there. If I want to get like 10 hours work, yeah, maybe I might have a second one later in the day, but that's about it. I actually also think that it's very convenient the way it comes, because it comes as a powder form. So first of all, that means you can stock a load of doses in your house. Like, sure, you can go and buy a load of energy drinks, but most people aren't going to buy energy drinks in packs of 40 and put 40 in their fridge and therefore never have to leave the house to get another energy drink. You can easily have 40, I think it's like 40 doses in just one of those tubs. Very easy to have around the house, and therefore you've got all the energy drink you need in your house. You have no excuse to go out and waste time going to the shop and all these things that people do to procrastinate and fuck around. It's one thing to do if you just want a little walk, but people do it just to mess. Oh, I'm gonna have to go to the shop and do that now. No excuse, just go ahead and have one. It means you don't have to go out to get it. Like I say, it can be transported very easily because it's powder. You just take the little sachets with you, or take a tub with you in your bag. Therefore, you can have it wherever you are, on holiday, wherever you might be. Because it's powder, it's very easy to make up. You just get the scoop, you put it in water, you shake it until it's ready, you drink it. That's about it. I also think because it's only 25 calories and I was only ever having 1 or 2 of them a day and I wasn't having other caffeine and other energy drinks, it actually helped me lose weight. It helped me get more of a healthy lifestyle, because I would have my G Fuel, and then aside from that, because it wasn't much sugar in it and I don't take more caffeine, I wasn't having sodas, I just drink water aside from that. Therefore, it was allowing me to just naturally have a better diet than I would have otherwise. I mean, in the past, my favourite energy drink, just purely based on the taste, was always the original Rockstar, the black one. And I liked that mainly for the taste, actually. Yeah, the effect, I want the energy drink effect as well, but some of the aspects of the effect were always problematic. I was always managing that. I was always dealing with it. I always knew it wasn't that ideal, but I just liked it. So I always put that down as a minor vice, having energy drinks. With the G Fuel scenario, I don't feel like that, actually. I feel like I've tied it in a positive way to my work ethic and my habit, actually. So for me, G Fuel has completely replaced all other energy drinks. I take sachets with me when I go to events and when I want to get started on stuff and I want to shift over in terms of jet lag. And personally, I found it to be a really good product.